Okay, so it's to analyze this for symmetry, and we'll do that. But it also goes on to say they want a graph of it. Symmetry often helps us graph something. And it's important to know about symmetry, so when you're graphing something, you can use the symmetric behavior of the graph to make it quicker, all right, or easier to do. They also went on to, at a footnote, and I see that footnote 9, they say, you might want to try to solve this thing for y first. But let me put that down. It says you may want to try solving for y and then choosing simple values for x to evaluate. Well, let's take a look at that. All right, I'm going to write this down for you. And I'm going to try to solve for y. So what do you get? You would get y squared is equal to 4 over x, but minus, right? That's not so bad, right? So I'm looking at this. I'm going to be really careful with this, by the way, because what I'm saying over here is that I'm seeing that this is y equals, this would be plus or minus. This looks strange to me, doesn't it? What do you get over here? You would get minus 4 over x. So before I do symmetry, I'm going to say I want to do domain first. And a domain of this thing over here is when minus 4 over x is going to be greater than or equal to 0. Right? So I'm looking at this. I start to realize immediately that it's a rational inequality, and it's going to have this value at 0. It's the only place where the bottom becomes 0. If you did some sign analysis, it would only be over here. By the way, 0 would not be in the domain of it. So I know the domain is going to be 0. I'm sorry, not 0. I'm going backwards there. We want to go in the correct order. It's from minus infinity up to the 0, but it doesn't touch it. So someone says you're going to pick easy numbers here. I am. And by doing that, I probably should do symmetry first. And I'm looking at it, and I'm going to say it looks like x-axis symmetry. All right, you get a little better at this over time, but I'm going to say x-axis symmetry. Let me just show you that that's true, x-axis symmetry. All right, so to do that, what do you have to do? Well, you got to replace the y by minus y, and you hope you get the same equation, by the way. I made another mistake there. Let me correct it. So minus x, and I replace y by minus y, and I'll show you get the same equation. What do you get over there? Well, you get minus x y squared is equal to 4. So it's clearly x-axis symmetry. All right. Again, if you want to go on the other test, you can, but they're not going to work out for you. It's x-axis symmetry. So I'm going to start plotting points. All right. And someone says, "What points are you going to plot?" Easy points. Okay, so the first point I would pick, believe it or not, would be minus 1. If I chose x to be minus 1, inside the radicand would be the number 2. I'm sorry, the number 4. The square root of 4 is 2, so I get plus or minus 2. So what I want to do is just put a little graph down over here. And I'm going to say at minus 1, it would go up to 2 and down to minus 2. All right? Now, someone says, what other number could you choose? There's a variety of those. I mean, I guess we could choose minus 4, right? It's a pretty simple number. And what would you get over there? We get the root of 1, which would be plus or minus 1. So if I went down to minus 4, that's 2, 3, 4, I'm at plus or minus 1. By the way, I hope you start to realize you're seeing definite symmetry already. All right, what kind of symmetry? You're seeing x-axis symmetry. All right, so you could keep doing this, taking more and more values. For example, I could take like minus 16. And someone says, why'd you do that? Because it's easy. And minus 4 divided by minus 16 is a quarter, and the square root of a quarter is a half, so plus or minus 1/2. I think you get the idea that this thing is going to get smaller and smaller over here. I'll put this over here. And again, it's symmetric. It's going to look sort of like this over here. Then the question comes, I wonder what happens when we get closer to the origin. And I'm going to pick a number closer, and I'm going to pick minus 1/4. And what would you get? Well, you'd get 16, because minus 4 divided by minus quarter is 16, and the square root of 16 is plus or minus 4. So I hope you start to realize that when we get closer to the origin, this thing's starting to shoot up now. And by the way, it shoots up without bound. What does that mean? It's also going to shoot down without bound. All right, I'm going to take a look at a better picture, at the picture over here. And certainly someone says, how'd you generate that picture? I used the machine to do it, but I do see it. I see what I was getting over here, and that's what we're expecting, some basic, simple graphs for you. This goes up forever, and it goes to the left forever, and it's symmetric. What does that mean? It's x-axis symmetry. And that's it. End of the story. Thank you.